Hey guys, my name is Ray, and today's the day that I'm replying to some of your comments. I'm super excited. I'm super hyped. So let's dig into this and let's see what you guys have for me because I'm hyped. I really wanted to do this. Alright, so the first comment I wanted to respond to, this one is a recent one. Let's see. It comes from Melody Nelson, and she says, gonna throw this on you to chew on. Everyone is saying that Olenna was throwing Tyrion under the bus simply due to her grief, but Olenna basically pinned killing the king on Tyrion and Sansa. Why leave the string floating in the wind, especially tethered to the arm of another throne? Olenna has to discredit Tyrion up front and fast. Olenna is looking after her own interests. She wants vengeance. She wants the dragon damned the small folk. Who cares who loves her later? I mean, I do agree with you, Melody. I do believe that she, in a way, wants what she wants, and even Daenerys kind of mentions that to her. She brings it up to her when she says that, basically, are you a sheep? Are you a dragon? That's what I think she's telling her, like, be you. Like, don't listen to him. Let your true nature come out. Go with your gut. And we see that later Daenerys is going to do that. But I also do believe that, like we saw with Valyria, the Tyrells do have their own beef with the Lannisters, so there is kind of that like resentment, I think, towards Tyrion. And not only that, everybody hates Tyrion just because he's a simple dwarf, right? Like, just because of that, people hate him straight off the bat, especially in the books. But I do agree with you. I do believe that, she has to discredit him a little bit so that she could be in Cersei's ear. I think that basically everybody wants that. Everybody wants that spot next to Daenerys. Thanks for leaving your comment. Ashley Wilkerson says, remember Tyrion is a political animal, not a military one. Shit, did you see him with that axe? I'm joking. Taking Casterly Rock is a bold political move. Who wants to back a queen who can't even protect her own home? The same move started to undermine Robb. I mean, when you look at the move by itself, it is a smart move. You take their freehold, and then they only have to depend on King's Landing and basically whoever still wants to work with them. So I do see it as a strong move. I just don't see it as the strong move that it could have been if there would have been gold there. I think that a lot of people think that I was saying in the video that just because it doesn't have gold, it has no value. Of course it has value. It makes them look bad. It takes, a certain presence or the lore of the Lannisters, that strength behind them, away from the Lannisters. So I totally think that it was a good move. I just think that it's not as strong as when Robb was going to do it, like them doing it now. Because the Lannisters aren't what they were, I think that they're very different from where they started off in the series. Thanks for the comment. This comes from an older video. It comes from someone called... This one comes from Lord Roderick, and he says, you almost sound like Mike Tyson, but not as concussed. Also, your videos are nice, mate. Keep it up. Little heart. Thank you, I guess. So this question comes from Jubilee, and it says, Jon Snow is much more expressive emotionally this season. We used to have to guess what he was thinking when he stared off into the distance. Laugh out loud. I agree with you. Jon Snow as a character was always very pouty, very like, I'm a bastard and no one loves me, which is sad and fucked up because, it is true, nobody really cared for him that much, and he was always insecure about his place at Winterfell. But now that he's king, and we saw how he approached Sansa, that Sansa is a Stark, he's like, my word is final. It's basically like, whatever I say, that's what's gonna go. So I think that kind of helped him be a bit more vocal about his thoughts and his opinions and what he wants to be done. And especially since he just basically is the only person who has seen the dead, he's like, I know what I want, and I know what we gotta do. You guys don't. So he's that confident that he knows what needs to be done. So that's what I think it is. I think that since he knows what his role is right now, he's super comfortable in it. Not even in the Night's Watch, he was as comfortable as he is being king now in the North, I think. I think he fits being king in the North more now than he did as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, just for that simple fact that he cannot be questioned. He is the last say in everything that is done. Thanks, Jubilee, for the question. John Hampton says, do you think Sansa will serve some Queen's justice to Littlefinger this week? John, I honestly wish that it would be this week, But the other part of me is like, no, we're gonna have the Jon Snow reunion with Daenerys this episode. This episode should revolve solely around Jon and Daenerys, in my honest opinion. But I think that Littlefinger will not last as long as we all possibly thought he might. You know, I think that when it's all said and done, I don't think he makes it to episode 6, maybe. Because at this rate, it just seems to me that Arya is heading to the north. I honestly think still that Arya is going to be the one to kill Littlefinger, or at least, you know, put him on blast. I think that Bran is also going to Winterfell, so I think that there's going to be a lot of moving pieces still that need to get there so that the tension at Winterfell could hit an all-time peak. But I don't think that he'll die this upcoming episode of the Queen's Justice. I think that the Queen's Justice is referring to Cersei, to be honest. I think that that's where it's going to go. I think that Cersei is going to get her revenge on Ellaria and Tyene. And a lot of you guys have a very specific image of what's going to happen. The most popular thought that I've heard among other people is she's going to go full Mad King, Brandon, and Rickard. And she's going to do the same thing that they did to Brandon Stark and Rickard Stark and burn Tyene in front of Ellaria. If that is what happens, Cersei will be the definite batshit crazy person on this show. I mean, that'll be insane. Thanks, John, for the question. Game of Theories with Marie says, Daenerys had to sail past Dorne to get to Dragonstone, so why didn't she simply drop Ellaria off with the silly snakes and the Greyjoys at Dorne? I mean, I, for one, thought the same thing. And then I went and I started watching the episode again, and I'm like, you know what? She didn't know what she was expecting in Dragonstone. So she doesn't know if she might need that fleet. You know what I mean? She doesn't know what she... For all she knew, she was going to have some sort of resistance maybe there. Because this is something that I brought up in my last video, is that I feel that Varys kind of slacked off a bit when it came to Euron and Cersei, because Varys is supposed to know everything. And we saw in the previous episode that she was basically questioning Varys' loyalty. And I think she's right to do so, because we saw in this episode that Euron basically ambushed. He surprised Yara and the Sand Snakes while they were on their way to Dorne. So I think that maybe she did it. She wasn't informed that, you know, she could have left them. Maybe that wasn't an option to her at the moment. But I mean, it is the more practical thing to do, I believe. You know, leave them right there, and then you just continue with your fleet that you got off of the slave masters straight to Dragonstone with your Unsullied and Dothraki. She continues and she asks, do you think that Tyrion's advice was a mistake? I do agree with you. I do believe that it was a mistake, Marie, because just the simple fact that it wasn't a mistake. I think that the plan was solid. I think that, again, Varys was the one that was at fault here, because we've seen how easily and how much Varys, Littlefinger, and these characters pick up, and it just seems like Qyburn is like the most improved hand of anybody. Like, he's just like outdoing Varys when it comes to as like a spy master. And it's just weird. I feel that Varys really messed up, because if Tyrion knows that the Iron Fleet is around King's Landing, he would never have sent them that way. He never would have. They would have attacked King's Landing directly, and that's what would have happened, you know, with the dragons and everything. We saw how much fire was raining on Yara and the Sand Snakes in the previous episode. It looked like Euron had a dragon. So I definitely don't think that it was Tyrion at fault. I think Varys is the #1 person to put here at fault for not knowing the alliance between Cersei and Euron, and exactly the location of the Iron Fleet. Thanks, Marie, for the question. Remus Black says, where's the Stormborn reaction? And I had written that I'll have it out for tomorrow. I'm sorry, I recorded the video, and then when I went back and checked on it, the microphone, like, it's messed up on the camera, the external mic that I use, so it didn't record any audio. So I have the footage, but I just don't have the audio, so I won't have any reactions out this week. But hey, without a doubt, I will have the reaction for for the Queen's Justice. I will have my reaction to that, and shit, I'll even upload it without audio if something happens again. That's how hype I am for episode 3 of this season, because it's going to be insane. This comes from TB, and this isn't a question, but I did like the you know, the comment, and it says the three heads of the dragon are the last hero, Azor Ahai, and the prince that was promised, Jon, Dany, and possibly the Hound. Now, I do like the fact that you do mention that all of these people could be the three heads of the dragon, because we continuously hear the three heads of the dragon as a thing. I necessarily don't believe that they have to be Targaryen, and they haven't really referenced it on the TV show, so it might not even be that of an important thing, let's say, right? But for all we know, it could be maybe, let's say, if you buy into the theory that Cersei and Jaime might be the Mad King's children, and let's say Cersei were to die or Jaime were to die and there was only one left, it could be them. If you just go based off of the description of each different hero that you mentioned there, the prince that was promised could be Daenerys, Azor Ahai could be Jon Snow, and Bran could be the last hero. You could mix and match them, so I think that it could be it could be a various amount of other people. And I like that you bring up the Hound, because the Hound in the previous vision seemed to be that, you know, he could very much be the how could I put it? He could be very much involved with R'hllor and the upcoming war. So he could be like a very strong and powerful figure down the line, because he's alive in the books. This question comes from Tina Vanderpool, and she says, how did Sam know that Jon could be reached at Winterfell? Great question. A lot of people have asked this for me, have asked me about this question, and I'm gonna just say this. I don't know. Because it sucks, because I wanted to see the reaction that Jon is king in the north, and Sam like, oh my god, like, this is insane. My boy is king in the north. I don't have to go to the Night's Watch. He could probably release me from my oath, from my vow. And like, it was just like something that I really wanted to see, and I guess we won't see it. To be honest, I just think that he knows that Jon Snow is king in the north, or you could say that possibly they sent it to Castle Black and then they sent it back to Winterfell, but we saw that Bran is at Castle Black, and if they sent the letter, they would have sent Bran to Castle Black as well. So it's just iffy and interesting. I don't believe that Jon will be there when Bran comes down, so I just think that the timeline is a bit kooky right now. But I just think that Sam practically knew that basically Jon was king in the north, and because I think that something like that would be rushed, like through email or mail or Raven to the Citadel if there was a new king in the north, because that's something very historic. So yeah, I think that he just knew, to be honest. I like the comment below from TB says, because he was a wizard. Alright, let's see. And this is the last comment I'll talk on, guys. I really wanted to talk about this one. This one comes from Phil H, and he says, Olenna Tyrell to Dany was basically like the kill the girl and let the dragon be born. I like that, because it is true. It is kind of very similar to the Maester Aemon thing. It's like, do what needs to be done. You know what you have to do. So, because I do agree, I do believe that Daenerys should come in like Aegon kind of, and tell them, bend the knee. If you don't, I'm coming with dragons. And that's just how it has to be, because I don't like that she believes that she has a claim. I think that Daenerys does not have a claim to the throne. I think that she has to conquer the throne, just like basically Robert Baratheon did and Aegon before them. You know, I think that once you conquer it, your family after you has a claim. If you haven't conquered it, you have no claim. They took it from you, and you're basically, she is usurping the throne from Cersei. So she's forcibly removing Cersei. So I do agree. I think that Olenna Tyrell is basically telling her like, yo, grow up. Be who you have to be. And I agree with that. I do think that Tyrion is smart, and Tyrion is doing the very political thing. But I think that Cersei and Jaime kind of know that he's doing that. And I think that this is kind of where it's messing up for them. But I do agree. I think that it was very similar to the Aemon Targaryen thing. Now, before I go out, guys, I wanted to tell you guys I will be having a live stream tomorrow, and I will have Emilia and I will have Kyle, aka Azor Hype, on. So you guys should definitely check that out. And this layout that you guys see here, this will not be the same layout tomorrow. I will have a different layout. I will be telling you guys some awesome ideas that I have for future live streams and events. It is going to be an awesome live stream, and I'm basically changing everything on the channel, so you guys already know there's going to be something crazy, next level. I'm always pushing it because I like to give you guys the best stuff out here. But like I said, guys, it's always a true pleasure doing these. It's always fun. As always, guys, my name is Ray, and peace.